touch this. You can't touch this.
Welcome back to No Name Cinema Society. We're back, everybody. It's our classic sort of section of the night of our year-end review. We're going back 25 years to talk about 1990. See, this is a DeLorean. We're going back in time. I'm Jonathan Betzler. What's up? Come back with me to 1990, and we got my cohorts with me. We got Jay Money and well, I'll introduce them in a second. I gotta turn the music off first. It was a nice idea. I enjoyed it. Anyway, so there it is, ladies and gentlemen. That was our opening. Let me introduce my cohorts on our time travel mission here. First, my friend Talks with Hot Air. This is Jay, also known as Jay Money.
Oh, I win. I'm impressed by our production values this show. This is amazing. Our budget went through the roof, apparently.
And my other Indian friend is Hunches at Desk, also known as Davie Joe.
All right. Yeah.
You guys would be surprised to learn that You Can't Touch This, although it was the #1 album of the year. You Can't Touch This was not the #1 song of 1990. Does anybody know what the #1 song of 1990 was?
Nope.
No.
Coming to you now?
No.
Really? Come on, Davie Joe.
All right.
It's the #1 song of 1990.
All right.
You're not that young, really?
Don't.
Viewers, help me out here.
Don't keep us in suspense, man.
Let's see if I can skip ahead. As you know, things have changed.
Wilson Phillips.
There it is.
Took a
As
minute.
cheesy as the song is, there's a personal story of that song that happened right after I moved to Los Angeles. It actually, because it's an I was at a dark place, and actually the song, when our mutual friend was actually visiting to see that band, to work with that particular band.
Yes.
And that song happened to come on the radio on my birthday, and I was feeling the most down I've ever felt, and it actually got me in a better place. So anyway,
that's good.
So 1990, so much to talk about with 1990. We were all alive at the time, all three of us here, but we weren't as aware of some of the stuff that's going around. So I'm gonna real quick. We're gonna do a quick overview of things that were going on in the world in 1990, and our goal here is to sort of put some perspective and maybe on what was going on in the world and how that was affecting the movies and the reaction potentially to the movies of 1990. Probably the biggest individual overarching event in the news was perestroika, to put it simply. The Berlin Wall had fallen in November of 1989, and throughout 1990, lots of different changes were happening. There was the first elections, democratic elections. Like Gorbachev was elected as like an actual president, and then like Yeltsin was elected somewhere else. I'm not exactly clear on all that, but that was sort of like the biggest thing that was going on from that point of view. I don't know how much you guys remember about that element, but it was kind of a big deal because it's the end of a 30-year struggle. As we saw typified in Bridge of Spies this year.
Yeah, it was kind of a big deal. I think that's a fair way of putting it. So.
Well, I mean, like we take it for granted now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the single biggest news event I think was Nelson Mandela was released in February after 27 years in prison, and you can already see, like, for whatever reason, 1990 was like the thawing of lots of different viewpoints, like, whether it's South Africa or here, these tensions were melting all over the place. From a science point of view, it was also the year we launched the Hubble telescope, which in this photo looks, kind of lame. I mean, looks like tinfoil to me. I don't know. What do you guys think?
It actually literally is tinfoil, yeah. It's actually like leftovers from NASA that they shot into space.
Does it actually broadcast any pictures, or is that just a fake?
No, that's just a fake. The whole thing's been faked, just like the moon landing. It's the same stuff. It's the same story over and over again.
Davy Joseph's along for the ride right now. He doesn't care. But he will care about this next thing that happened in 1990. The World Wide Web happened in 1990. Another thing that we take for granted, this is Tim Berners-Lee, who, again, the details are sketchy, but he works for a place called CERN, and he sort of, I guess, invented the World Wide Web. I don't know if you've got more information on this. I just sort of did a cursory, I don't want to get too much into it, but I did a sort of a cursory background on it. But I mean, like, this thing that happened with Tim Berners-Lee was instrumental in how we, an advancement of how we use the internet today. Like the concept of the internet in 1990, only 25 years ago, the concept of the internet was completely foreign to most people. Would you guys disagree with that?
No, it's crazy how much things have changed. Certainly.
Isn't it? It's so strange. And I watched all these 1990 movies that you saw on Twitter, and we're going to talk about them shortly. And like, these state-of-the-art computers that they had, and things like that. It's shocking, really. The 25 years they advance. Moving on real quick. Overview. This is for Davey. This section. We're going to overview sports, chronological order. First, the NCAA tournament. This was the year of the dominance of the Runnin' Rebels from UNLV. Do you remember that, Davey Joe?
I do. That was amazing.
This is Greg. Forgot
Anthony?
his name.
Greg
Steve
Anthony.
Ogden was on that roster. What's that?
Greg Anthony. Was that
Greg Anthony.
Mookie Blaylock on there too, or?
Absolutely. Yeah. See, I'm glad you're here. Thanks for joining us today, Davey Joe.
I know. See, now I've helped.
Now you're engaged.
It's all
I love it.
from here on out.
And then in early June, Mark Messier would win his first cup without Wayne Gretzky, and the final cup for the Edmonton Oilers. The last one they've won. They haven't won one since then. Is my point. They won 4 before that.
Yeah.
With the Gretzky-dominated 80s. So it was their 5th one as a franchise, and their 5th one, I think, in a 6 or 7 year period. They were pretty dominant. Speaking of dominant, back-to-back champions, the Pistons in basketball in late June. It was the end of the Bad Boys era. This would be the last year before Michael Jordan would win his first championship the following year and dominate the rest of the decade. But the Bad Boys of Motown. This was their last hurrah. They had won back-to-back, 89 and 90, and they swept the Portland Trailblazers in this particular series, as I recall. And from Bad Boys, we to Nasty Boys. The Cincinnati Reds in baseball were the world champions. Actually, the only title for Lou Piniella as a manager. I think people assume that he's won more than that, but this is the only championship he's won. A lot of these guys, Paul O'Neill is a Yankee. Barry Larkin is the only one that's sort of like, people don't remember how good Chris Sabo was that year. The Nasty Boys refers to their bullpen. Also, some interesting baseball things in 1990 that Davey Joe might find interesting. There were 9 no-hitters thrown in 1990, including 1 by Nolan Ryan and 2 on the same day. In June 28, 1990, Dave Stewart and Fernando Valenzuela both threw no-hitters on the same day. Also, in September of 1990, Ken Griffey Jr. and Ken Griffey Sr. hit home runs, back-to-back home runs in the same game for the same team, obviously. So that was kind of a big deal, and that's never been done before. So towards the end of the year, moving to football, the national championship was won by the Colorado Buffaloes, their only title in championship history. Now, I don't really watch a lot of college football, but the reason I brought it up, there's this great documentary called The Gospel According to Mac, and that's him, Mac, Coach Mac, right there. It's a 30 for 30. Do you watch those at all, Davey Joe?
I haven't seen that one, but yeah, I do watch them.
It's outstanding because he was sort of like a very religious guy. He was born again. So there was a point where he he was preaching to his kids and he would get in trouble for that sort of thing. Mixing football and religion and whatever. But then also his daughter got knocked up by the quarterback, and then the quarterback died, from cancer at the age of 21 or something. It's a crazy good documentary. It's sad, obviously in some ways, but and perhaps the biggest thing in football overall, the one of the most famous Super Bowl moments anyway, happened from the 1990 season. Officially, it's January 27th, 1991, which was the Wide Right is what it's known as. Look at Jay Money. He's so bored right now. I can't.
Oh my God, Jesus fucking Christ! Spent 3 minutes on Perestroika and 20 minutes on football and baseball.
It wasn't 20 minutes. We haven't been on for 10 minutes yet.
Riveting.
It feels like a lifetime, JB.
Oh my gosh, I feel like it's gone pretty quickly. Davey Joe, can you help me out here?
Scott Norwood, Wide Right.
Yeah. Well, can you at least back me up that you know, like, if we're going to go back in time, we've got to do it right.
I'm here. I'm with you. And this is one of the worst things that ever happened. This missed kick here.
What, football?
Yeah. So the New York Giants won their second Super Bowl. Yeah. No, I hear you on that one. So now we'll save it to entertainment a little bit, and just real quick, I just want to talk about what's going on television, because this was this was like the zeitgeist show. You know, and probably the single best one season of a show ever. 1990, this nation was suddenly captivated by Twin Peaks. I assume you guys have seen it by now.
Mm-hmm. I have not.
It is available on Netflix.
I know. So is like everything else. Like, it's too much.
So is everything else.
But I mean, like, I feel like just the first season of Twin Peaks is all you need to watch.
I will eventually.
How do you feel about my assessment of that, J Money?
I mean, it's certainly the better season. It depends on how much.
You not like Twin Peaks?
What's that?
You not like Twin Peaks?
Oh no, I like Twin Peaks a lot, but like season 1 is a stronger season between season 2.5. Is it 2.5 or just 2?
2.5, yeah. And it's coming back this year, 2016. It's coming back.
Is it still officially coming back this year? It was on, then it was off, then it was on.
They're shooting.
All right, well, that's good.
So that you know, interesting synergy there. Twin Peaks though did not win the Emmy for Best Show. That went here. You know, I like David E. Kelly's other shows, but I was never a L.A. Law kind of guy. The Emmy for, do you guys like L.A. Law?
Never watched it.
I liked it.
It's David Joe's life, ultimately.
Yeah, you bet.
That's true. Well, except it's Charlotte Law for David Joe.
Law.
But one of my favorite shows did win the Emmy for Best Comedy, and it doesn't. People don't talk about it as much anymore. But I thought Murphy Brown was hilarious and smart.
Yeah, I don't think it holds up. I've watched it a bit recently, which is sad to say because I also really liked it a lot in the 90s. And maybe it's just the fact that I'm so not used to laugh tracks anymore. But something about it felt a little bit too on the nose a lot of times.
Yeah. It's interesting. I'd be curious to check it out again.
Yeah,
so I remember thinking. I remember thinking it was brilliant.
Yeah.
The top-rated shows of the time were, and it's like first or second season. This sort of iconic show.
Yep.
For you, our younger viewers, this is Roseanne, which was like, you know, intelligent and controversial at the time. Does this one hold up, Jay Money?
You know, honestly, I was never a fan of Roseanne, so I don't know. I haven't.
I'll answer that. It does. It does hold up.
Does it? Yeah.
Yes.
I'm usually the one that doesn't like comedies, but it sounds like you're the anti-comedy one.
I might like it more now. When I was younger and it was on, I just found it kind of repulsive, like as a show.
Roseanne was actually the tie for the most highly rated show of the year.
Oh, I know it was very popular.
What's that?
I know it was very popular and critically acclaimed, certainly.
I loved it.
There was a tie at the top of the ratings between Roseanne and this show, which will have sort of an ironic effect on our viewers.
I know where you're going with this. Yeah.
Yeah, this is one of the 2 highest rated shows still in 1990, like dominated the 80s and continued into 1990, and this was like its 7th season or something ridiculous. So it's kind of crazy. I mean, but then again, like I feel like our whole family gathered around the TV to watch it, every week.
That's
I mean,
true.
Obviously, we didn't know anything about his private life or anything like that, or or whatever. But I don't know. I mean, like it was enjoyable. It was something like it was one of those 6 quadrant things that we talked about. Like I feel like everybody liked the show.
Mm-hmm.
No,
everybody did. Everybody did.
I'm glad you're here. For all your not watching of 1990 movies, it's good that you're here to at least bail me out of it. When J Money's just giving me grunts.
Look, honestly,
I'm
there's a
glad
lot of
you're at
stuff. I didn't start paying attention to pop culture until probably till like 91 or 92, frankly. I mean, there's a lot of
Well,
stuff.
that's interesting. Yeah, I didn't. I'm a little older, and I probably didn't start until 87, 88. So,
Yeah.
But
I always had my finger on the
that's-
pulse.
I'm ready now to segue to the films. I sent these guys a list of 73 films that I was able to figure out that was released in 1990. Far less than 149. Almost. It's actually about 50% that. And I'm sure there are little ones that we missed, but I don't think there's too many. Obviously, indie scene was just getting burgeoning, and there wasn't as many distribution outlets. Obviously, no Netflix or anything like that to produce films, and there were less distributors overall. So there was less content. So 73 doesn't sound like a bad number. I've personally seen 50 of the 73 and 20 in the last few months for this project. I've either watched or rewatched 20 of them. Recently, it's fresh on my mind. So real quick to give you a sense of the box office, this was supposed to be the biggest film of 1990. It was like the most ballyhoo. This is the year after Batman, so Disney felt like they had a sure winner with another comic book franchise. And it's not like the movie did badly. It broke 100 million, which at the time 100 million was like the benchmark of a successful movie. But they did spend a lot on it, and it didn't do as well because it got beat by a movie that people thought were gonna bomb. Like, it was put up with like Exorcist 3 as like one of the like sure bombs of the summer, but it was the highest grossing movie of the year. And Ghost would go on to capture the hearts of Americans, and would also, as you'll see shortly, go on to a Best Picture nomination. Before I move on, do you guys have any thoughts about anything so far?
I saw Dick Tracy twice in the theater. I guess it was in 1990.
Wow. And you're a fan, I guess.
I was a fan. I was a big fan of it at the time.
Anything about any of that, Davy Joe?
Yeah, I saw Dick Tracy in the theater, and Exorcist 3 has the scariest sequence in a movie I have ever seen.
Okay, all right.
Ever.
So that's. I mean, but Exorcist 3 is one of the movies that huge bomb of the year.
Wait, Davy Joe, is it the scene with the ceiling, with the guy on the ceiling?
No, that is a
All right.
stupid scene.
Oh, fine.
Oh no, not
think it's
the old lady walking on the ceiling, that bothered me. But anyway, the scene is the scene, man. You know the scene.
Is it? Okay.
I don't, but
Yeah,
anyway,
JB will never know. So, JB, I have to say there were a bunch of movies that were not on your list that I were favorites of mine from 1990, but I don't know if they just didn't qualify for 1990. So,
I'm happy. Please mention them because maybe I missed it.
Tremors. Tremors was a movie that was, I guess, 1990 that I'm surprised didn't end up on the list.
Was it 1990? Sure.
Well, according to IMDb, so I don't know. I don't know if it was just released at a different time.
I mean, it depends on the release pattern. Like, it might say 1990 if it was released at a film festival, and then was by 1991. That's interesting. So you like Tremors?
Yeah, I did. I mean, it's funny because there's a lot of movies from 1990 that I didn't see at the time that I like. Technically, I like. I still like Tremors now. For instance, I think it's a fun. Kind of
me too.
campy.
It was a weird time. I was not allowed to watch rated R movies, as I've expressed to you.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
But it was also I've got a treat for you guys. J Money knows this is coming, but Davy Joe does not.
Well, I was. It's funny because on that note, I was surprised that I had seen a couple of movies that you listed on your list that I had seen in the theater that I definitely shouldn't have seen in the theater, like RoboCop 2 and like Total Recall. Like as myself.
Right, I did not see those. I did not see those in the theater.
I saw them in the theater on my own as a 10-year-old, which is kind of surprising in hindsight.
They didn't check any of that stuff.
They didn't care.
Well, I mean, I was a good boy. Like I was genuinely afraid of punishment and being caught in things, so I didn't start sneaking into rated R movies until 1992.
Well, maybe so.
But shh, don't tell anybody that. Oh, it's our little secret. I imagine I would still get in trouble, you know, after the fact now. But yeah, right now I might get a call, so be prepared. Yeah. So I started making top 10 lists in 1989, Wow. And I started doing movies in 1999. So I have here my top 10 list that I made in, right after 1990, officially on March 24th, 1991, which was the day before the Oscars. And I've got it here for you. J Money put a nice little graphic together. And I think this is 10 movies out of, I think I saw 19 total movies. And all of them are PG or PG-13. I have affection for many of them that would not make my top 10 list today. But
you've got a wide variety, though. I'll give you that.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know that #1 movie. Has anybody seen Quickly Down Under?
Yeah, I saw it in the theater.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Oh, you and me? It was just the two of us.
I guess it was just the two of us, yeah.
Is that Tom Selleck?
Yeah, that's Tom
Selleck.
It is.
Yeah, I've seen it.
And I just, for this show, I rewatched it. And I hadn't seen it in forever, and I had my skepticism, and and maybe it'll come up over the course of the evening. But I redid. I'm not going to share my new top 10, but I redid it just to see, and I couldn't not put Quigley on it. Like, it's still on the top 10. It's not #1 anymore for obvious reasons. But for those of you who have not seen this movie, it's an old style Western, and it's really solid. I mean, like, it's got some maybe cheesy elements, but cheesy like in the sense that they come out of the 40s more than they do 40s or the 50s than the 90s. Like, it's very old school, and maybe that's what I appreciated about it. Directed by the same director as Lonesome Dove and the movie Daryl that we talked about once, Australian director Simon Windsor. You can see here I've actually got the VHS. That's how far back I go with that particular movie. So what's next? All right, now it's time to start talking about the Academy Awards. So just like we did in the Oscar preview a little while ago, we are actually yeah. All right, so we have the lists of categories here, and these guys, I guess, did not watch as many 1990 movies recently as I have, so hopefully it won't be as lengthy. But let's start with adapted screenplay, even though that we know that J Money sort of disagrees with the category in general. The winner here was Dances with Wolves, which is interesting because Dances with Wolves started with Michael Blake pitching an idea to Kevin Costner, and then Kevin Costner says, "Go write the book. Go write it. Make it a novel first, and then we'll turn it from a novel to a screenplay, so people know about it first." Wow. It'll be easier to sell or something. That was their theory.
That's such a strategy that would never work now. That's a strategy that doesn't seem like possible to work now.
Yeah, I mean, and like, I feel like it took, them so much longer than it could. I mean, like that. There was an extra couple years that it would have taken to get to the screen, I would think. But it did win here. It won, so I guess it was worth it. So, what do you guys think should have won?
Oh, Goodfellas. I mean, come on.
Goodfellas for a screenplay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goodfellas is obviously behind me here. When it comes to screenplay, though, I just want to give. I actually feel like Awakenings is, and I love Goodfellas. I talk about it a lot, and will throughout the rest of the evening. But in this particular category, which is why I didn't want to cut this out, I wanted to acknowledge Steven Zeilin's work in screenplay. Steven Zeilin is a master of, taking a lot of information and making it palatable, interesting, and moving it along as a screenwriter. He also was a screenwriter on Schindler's List. I think it's the best screenplay overall, adapted or original, in 1990. And it's like Spotlight in the sense that it has this balance of information and emotional content. And visual storytelling, never boring, always engaging and intelligent. So, from just a screenplay point of view, and like, it's not really to knock Goodfellas, but I feel like the strength of Goodfellas lies in other areas, which we'll get to. So, how do you guys feel about, is there anger?
No, I see that. I think for me, Awakenings got a little too schmaltzy, and that's why I wouldn't have given it the should win.
It's funny because that was my memory of it, but I rewatched it and I didn't feel that as much.
I watched it 3 days ago, so.
Oh, so okay, so you also did watch some of these movies.
I did watch some. I just didn't get a chance to see all of them. But yeah.
Well, yeah, I didn't get the chance to see all of them either. But okay, that's good to know. I didn't realize.
And honestly, I didn't. That was the first time I watched it too. I didn't see it when it came out, and I hadn't seen it until now. So.
Oh wow. Okay. I also I I did see. That's one I did see in the theater. As you see, it was on my top 10 list from before. I think I also watched it 3 days ago. I think might have been watching it around the same time. It's interesting that you felt that about it because I guess I can see your point of view. I don't want to belabor it, but I mean, is there a specific moment that you can point to that you feel like it gets sentimental?
Yeah, it's the speech at the end that Robin Williams' character gives when he's talking to the board members, when he's sort of summing up the life of.
Yeah. It's funny because I remember that very specifically thinking, oh, is this gonna get over the top? But then I felt like the delivery was good and it worked for me. Like it worked. But that's like shade. It was like shade. Like I can totally see that. Davy Joe, you're a tiebreaker on this.
I mean, look at Awakenings is a great movie, and I didn't think it was small to see at all. So.
Davey, do you have any thoughts of what should have been nominated in this category in terms of adaptation, rather?
No.
Okay, J Money, do you?
Well, I'm kind of surprised Misery wasn't, considering Misery comes into play in other.
That was mine.
That's interesting.
Yes!
Damn it.
We did it. We have synergy. You're my man. I was feeling that. Maybe if they thought William Goldman was just like too big for his britches or something, he's writing all these books. He's the so-called expert on screenwriting, but it's a great screenplay. Extremely effective, peeling away the information as we discover more and more about Annie Wilkes. Could have been dull, repetitive in that room, and like the writing and the dialogue really makes it not so.
Yeah. No, I agree, and it's considering it also comes up in other categories, to me it's actually kind of a snub. I guess you just talked about that. It's kind of a snub that it didn't get into this one.
Yeah, I mean, like the William Goldman theory might be far-fetched, but like it's funny because at the time, like everyone sort of goes to William Goldman to, for advice about things or whatever. He was just sort of like this soothsaying guy. Occasionally writes his own screenplays, and they're always good. And I think sometimes people are like, man, F that guy. He's always, he's got 2 Oscars already. Who needs him?
Yeah.
So anyway, I pulled up the wrong photo. Sorry about that.
Not forgiven.
I can't believe I didn't think of Misery. I could have thought of that. Damn.
Come on.
Yeah, I'm a little, this is what happens when you don't do your homework.
That's true.
Original screenplay. It's time for original screenplay. Here's the nominees. Interesting bunch. If I had to list my top 5 of this category, I would have 2 of these 5 in there. So my personal Oscars or whatever would have like 2 of these same 5. The winner was Ghost. Bruce Joel Rubin was the winner, and I'm gonna jump in first here just because this is one I actually think they got right. And out of these nominees, I feel like Ghost is one of the best things about it is the screenplay, and I like the movie. I like Ghost a lot. I watched it again recently, and I still cried. I still bawled. I think it's sweet. I think it's actually beautiful. I think it's very well shot, romantic. Which being shot has nothing to do with screenplay, but it's romantic, it's creative, engaging, with just the right dash of humor. There's some other things, other categories where it won that I'm not as fond of, but I do think this is the right call. Based on the nominees, what do you guys think?
That's fine. I mean, I lean towards Metropolitan, and I wonder if I did that because it maybe I connect with it more now than ever,
Well, that's very possible. It was not one that I rewatched. I have seen it though, and it was, I said that 2 of those nominees were ones that I had chosen, and that was the other one. So that was also in my top 5, of the year.
Yeah.
What should have won to you, Davy Joe?
Avalon kind of strikes me. I haven't seen it in a long time. I don't remember really liking that movie.
Avalon. That's a dark horse pick, man.
So wait a minute. You say you don't remember kind of liking it.
No, I remember liking it a lot.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I remember being extremely bored by Avalon. Like, and I love movies, and it's hard to bore me. Like, it really is.
I don't think I watched it as a 12-year-old, so I.
You don't know how old I was.
Well, I mean me in 1990.
So when you were 12, J Money was 10? Is that what I'm
I started early. JB was in his 20s, I think.
30, yeah, I think I was 34. So anyway, what do you guys feel like should have been nominated here? I guess I'll go to J Money. You've got nothing, Davy Joe, I presume. Okay, yeah, J Money.
I'm going to go on a limb here. I'm going to pick Edward Scissorhands, which I know not necessarily a strong movie in general, but a quirky script. Quirky script is what I would say.
It would be in my top 10 of the movies.
Right,
you know, like I think there's other. I think it's one that maybe the screenplay isn't as strong as other elements, like direction, production design, etc. But I had Edward Scissorhands as my top choice in a lot of the below the line categories of 1990 actually.
Right.
But I love the movie. I just watched it again. This past year at one of the outdoor screenings we go to. So I'm a big fan. So I don't think it's a bad choice. Here's where I went with should have been nominated. I went with the Coen Brothers, Miller's Crossing. I actually saw this the day after we did our Coen Brothers top 5.
Oh, really?
And because I wanted it to get here in time, and Netflix got here. It got here too late. It got here the day we were doing the show. So I didn't get to see it in time, and so I watched it for this, and I would probably make it my number 3 Coen Brothers now. Rich characters, intricate plot. I was really impressed by the wholeness of world about it too. Like the cohesion, the way that the world that they built, even though it's like got some basis in history, it seemed inventive regardless. It didn't come up a lot in our Coen Brothers discussion. Where are you guys on the screenplay here?
I saw it so long ago that I couldn't really talk about it effectively. I think it's like it's probably a good choice. I kind of wish that maybe I'd rewatched it for the show, but what I remember.
It's a good watch. I mean, like it's a fun little. No, it's not little. But it's a good movie. It's a really good movie. It's really engaging. What do you remember about this one, Davy Joe?
I remember liking it quite a bit, but again, I didn't watch it in 1990. So yeah.
When did you watch it?
Well, I watched it in 2016. So I did the wrong.
I saw it post Lebowski.
Closely, okay. Did you watch them back to back?
No. It was after Lebowski when I was kind of.
They're pretty different though, aren't they? I mean, this is more my kind of Coen Brothers movie, like the less quirky, more narrative-driven. It felt like more in tune with No Country for Old Men than the Big Lebowski. So, all right, you guys ready to move on?
Yep.
Some acting categories. So we're going to start with supporting actor. Here are the nominees. You can see here. One of the big stories was Longtime Companion, and I probably it didn't make my top 10. I watched it for the first time for this show about a week or so ago, and I think it's probably one of the most important movies that must have come out in 1990. Because I mean, like, I certainly remember the time it being the first movie that I heard about, and that must be something for a young lad that dealt with AIDS so directly, and then watching it. Like, it had some narrative issues, but I mean, like, it's very honest and frank, and like, based on everything else I saw from 1990, it's way ahead of its time in terms of its portrayal of homosexuals, and the fact that Bruce Davison got this Oscar nomination, and actually Bruce Davison won the Golden Globe for this award in this category, beating the eventual Oscar winner. But the Oscar winner was, of course, Joe Pesci for Goodfellas, and I'll go first again because this is another one. And it's strange this might keep happening in 1990. This is another one I think they got right. Dead right. I don't know what you can say about this performance that hasn't already been said. It's iconic. It burns a hole right through the screen. He's three-dimensionally maniacal. I don't think there's a false note in it. It's a movie that Goodfellas is we're going to watch tomorrow as part of our Oscar movie marathon at 1 o'clock if anybody wants to come over. So I got Joe Pesci winning here, and like regardless who I say should have been nominated, this is the best. Whoever I put up there, he would beat them.
Yeah.
David Joe.
Yeah, and I actually will have I agree 100%. Joe Pesci, amazing, and I will have a should have been nominated.
Okay, and J Money, you are on board as well with.
Yeah, I actually agree with everything you said. I think it's an iconic performance that stands up, and people remember it so well. I mean, he deserves it hands down, no question.
All right, Dave Joe, why don't you tell me your one, and maybe I can get a picture of him.
Robin Williams.
That's a leading performance if you're talking about Awakenings.
Didn't De
They're
Niro?
both leading performances.
Oh, okay. All right. Well then.
Do you have one, J Money, before I cut away?
Yep. Sean Connery in The Hunt for Red October.
Oh wow.
Now, isn't that also a leading performance?
I consider him a supporting performance in that, but you tell me. I mean, he's a character that's important and pivotal, but he's not really the main protagonist in a lot of ways.
It's tough. It's a tough call. He's certainly he gets top billing.
He gets top billing, but he's also a very experienced actor at that point. I mean, I guess I think that it's told from the point of view of Alec Baldwin there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I'll give it to you. I mean, like, I think I was following the Oscars at the time. It was, like, again, my second year of really following the Oscars closely. And E was one of the only cable channels my grandmother got, so I watched a lot of E. And they were definitely campaigning him for lead actor.
Oh, were they? That's interesting.
Yeah, so, not that means anything sometimes. They were also campaigning Kate Winslet for Best Supporting Actress in The Reader, and she won for Best Actress. So, like, sometimes it makes a difference and sometimes it doesn't. But I'll give you that one. Robin Williams was actually nominated for a Golden Globe for Best Leading Actor, and he won several Critics Award for Best Leading Actor. So that actually has some precedence. So anyway, I'm going to go with a surprise, and I'm back to the same movie. And I don't know if this is a guy I've never heard of before. And certainly since he's still more or less a working actor. This is also from Miller's Crossing. I don't know if you recognize him. The actor's name is John Polito. And it is, I was like, who is this guy in this amazing performance? It fits very well within the Coen brothers milieu. It's a quirky character, but mention and fears and flaws. And interesting enough, he's like intelligent enough to know he's not the most intelligent guy around. There's a self-awareness during his ascension to power that it's fleeting. One of the several nice touches that I think prevents this character from being over the top. So I don't know if you guys remember it well, this performance, and it's not better than Joe Pesci, but I had it as second.
I don't remember the performance, but I kind of know the actor, and I'm cool with that nomination in general. I mean, he's a fairly infamous character actor, isn't he?
Is it? I don't. I mean, he's worked with the Coen brothers a lot.
He's worked with the Coen brothers a lot. That's definitely true.
Maybe famous would be the word. I don't know, infamous.
Well, is he famous? I don't think he's famous.
Well, infamous.
Who said famous?
Davey Joe said famous. I'm saying infamous.
Oh, okay. I did it again. I keep going to the photo instead of like the slide with all the nominees. Sorry, guys.
It's okay. Davey Joe, you're in.
Does that give you more time, Davey Joe, to come up with another should have been nominated?
No.
No. And
you set me up so well for those one-word answers, and I try and
just when I need you to vamp.
I try and oblige
that's when
every
you give
time.
Me the one-word answer. All right, I'm ready.
All right.
All right, here we are. Moving on to Best Supporting Actress, and so this one now, Whoopi Goldberg won, and I think we're all going to agree. I'm going to assume that we're all going to agree that it was maybe not the most deserving, but it was important, and especially in a year like now we hear a lot about Oscars so white. At the time, it was the first time a female African American had won an award since 1939. So it had been literally 51 years. And Denzel had won the year before, so that would have made her the overall I guess the fifth overall African American actor to win an Oscar. So only the fifth one in all that time, and this was the 63rd annual Academy Awards. So it was important from a point of view. I personally don't think she deserved it. What about you guys? Who deserved the award that year?
I don't think she deserves it for Ghost. I think she deserved it for The Color Purple. So I'll give it to her on that basis. Like I think it's kind of ridiculous.
That's a very Academy line of thinking.
It is, but I mean, you got to take what you can get if you're in this situation. I think. I think that I think Lorraine Bracco probably would have gotten my nomination based on what I saw in this category, which isn't a lot necessarily. Yeah. So.
I mean, fair enough. What about you? Davy Joe? Do you have who should have won?
Bracco, I think, but I kind of feel like Whoopi's a leading role. No, am I wrong there?
No, I think it's a traditional supporting performance. I mean, I rewatched it, granted, so I've seen it, but I mean,
yeah, no,
to me, Moore is technically the.
No, yeah, all right. I think you're right. You're right. I go with Bracco. It's been obviously a long time since I've seen it.
Bracco's really good, and she would be like pretty much my second choice in this category, and she's certainly in my top 5. I think I've got 2 of the 5 in my top 5, and it would be Bracco and this one, who I think is slightly better in a movie that one can, but doesn't get talked about as much. This is Diane Ladd in Wild at Heart. And I don't know if you guys remember David Lynch's Wild at Heart. It's one of his, like, it's so hit or miss. And this was during the height of his powers, I think, with Twin Peaks, and again, Wild at Heart, one can. And it's such like a morality, fairy tale, fable thing. It's like crazy, but crazy good. And she actually, interestingly enough, she self-campaigned for this because the studio wouldn't back her. They didn't have much money. She actually hosted screenings of the film at her house and made video VHS copies and drove around Hollywood and gave them to her voter friends.
Wow.
But it's similar to the other performances we talked about. Like I almost think that the one I mentioned in the Oscar preview from Krisha, it's a ball-to-wall performance. Do you guys remember this performance in this movie? Have you seen it?
No. A long time ago. I guess I was way too young. I really cannot evaluate it. That's the problem.
David Joe, have you seen David Lynch's Wild at Heart?
I haven't. I need to concentrate on Lynch at some point.
Yeah, I really need to go back and check that out. That's one I never think of.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe there's a reason it hasn't lasted the test of time. And it's been a long time. It's not one of the ones I rewatched, but certainly the performance stuck with me enough for me to out of these nominees, have it here. Davy Joe, do you have a should have been nominated?
No.
Okay. Remind me going forward to always go to you first for the should have won.
Okay.
All right, so that way I can land on J Money. J Money, who's your should have been nominated?
I'm gonna go with Glenn Close in Hamlet as Hamlet's mother.
She's in my top 5. I've got her in my top 5. Nice. That's a really good one.
All right.
Excellent.
You don't have more to say about it?
I think that she brought, she's Glenn Close. She knows what she's doing to begin with. I loved the way that she turned the performance. And, I like the movie in general, so I guess there's a lot of, maybe that also helped me kind of determine if she was, worthy of the category.
I like it a lot, too. But I mean, like, maybe you haven't seen this movie because I should have been nominated. I just watched last night or the night before, and I'd never seen it, and I bought it because it wasn't available through Netflix, so I actually bought it to watch it. So I was curious. And it's obviously the one on the right, Shirley MacLaine in Postcards from the Edge.
Oh yeah.
Not nominated, and that baffles me. Like it is like the kind of performance that is just like blows your mind. She channels Debbie Reynolds. It's freaky and views the character with detail and dimension. And it's like there's this delicate balance of the struggle between the character's love for her daughter and her desperate need for attention. And the self-awareness of that, too, is really fascinating. So it's amazing to me. And maybe like she'd won for Terms of Endearment, which is not a film or performance I enjoy. But have you guys seen this movie? Like, it's a tremendous performance.
Yeah. I actually saw it in the theater, and that's probably why I'm not mentioning it now, because, again, I probably did not really get it.
Right.
I mean, I saw it in the theater on my own, by the way, so that should tell you something about the way I lived my life back then.
Jeez.
Yeah, and the way you live your life now.
Yeah, the way I live my life now, yeah.
Well, I hear you there.
Yeah.
Joe, what do you...
It's been a long time since I've seen it, but I do remember liking it quite a bit.
And that's the best he's got, ladies and gentlemen. That's why he's Davy Joe.
Top notch.
Me. All right, so lots of photos. We're moving on to Best Actress. Ba-boom! These are the nominees. And Julia Roberts getting her second consecutive nomination in this, not in this category. She was nominated the year before in supporting for Steel Magnolias. And of course, this was the year of, the way Alicia Vikander is the it girl this year. This was the year of Julia Roberts. Little did we know that she was never going to go away, though. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying, like, she was so in the zeitgeist at the time.
Yeah,
I remember it so vividly.
Yeah.
So anyway, but the winner would be Kathy Bates in Misery, and this is another one that I'm going to say they got right because I actually have often called this one of the top 5 greatest female performances of all time. I'm saying it right now.
Wow.
Top 5 best ever. They got the Oscar right. It's iconic. Again, another one that's iconic, like Joe Pesci we talked about. It's layered. It's intense. It's frightening. Every note, I think it hits right. So let me go. Let's see. Let's go with J Money first.
You're not going to ask Davy Joe if he...
Yeah, weren't we supposed... Let me remind you to
No,
go to me
that's what it should have been nominated.
Oh, okay,
You're right all along. David Joe, you're first.
Kathy Bates. This is great. This is a really stacked year for actress. But I have no problem with Kathy Bates. How do you decide which horror movies you're going to see? By the way, I'm just curious.
I feel like Misery counted. Like it's not that gory or.
What? It's a horror movie. It's all right. It's Stephen King.
Really.
Okay.
It's not like. I mean, like I don't know how to explain the difference right now. I guess it's a fair question, but I mean, I certainly didn't watch it until I was much older, well into even past college. I would say.
That's good. Well, I don't know if you have to wait that long, but it's definitely not a kid's movie. So.
Right. And all right. So J Money.
Oh, I would totally give it to her. I think that she definitely earned it. I don't know if I'd go so far as to say it's one of the top 5, but I mean, I think that she's great in the movie.
Well, we're going to talk about the top 5 more potentially because in one of our classic movie discussions coming up down the line comes up another one of those things that I would call top 5 greatest female performances of all time. So maybe that we'll make that the top 5.
Okay.
A little, and we can hash it out in more detail. But J Money, should I even bother asking you, Davy Joe?
No.
Okay, J Money, should have been nominated.
Do you have somebody else to share? I was thinking possibly Sharon Mermaids. I don't know if she's a supporting or full on.
No, she's technically lead because Winona Ryder won Best Supporting Actress from the National Board of Review for Mermaids.
Okay.
Even though that's questionable too, that they could both be leads, but it's interesting. I was super excited to see Mermaids. It was like when it came out on video cassette, like I was like, we got to get Mermaids. It's out because I missed it in the theaters or whatever. I feel like I remember it being dry, and I've never really gone back to it since then. But explain yourself on Mermaids.
I'm trying to think back. I mean, for me, it was a movie that felt adult in a way that maybe I actually connected with, which has been through the performances. I mean, the thing is, certainly at that time, I had a serious thing for Winona Ryder. That probably helped my assessment of the movie in general. But just looking over the list and looking at like who could fall into this category for the year of stuff that I'd seen, I thought, yeah, Cher's performance in that was actually, I think, fairly solid, at least as much as anyone else that's on this list here. I mean, Kathy Bates is it blows it out of the water, but I mean, compared to some of the other nominees here.
Well, I have Meryl Streep second, and she is nominated, so she can't be my should have been nominated person. But Meryl Streep in Postcards from the Edge is another like she can do no wrong. She's like the Cate Blanchett of her time. She's another one that's just like she's so good in that movie, and I just watched it a couple days ago, so it's fresh in my mind. But I remember feeling like I can't believe how good the movie is, and she is in it, and both those women are. It seemed like a strangely good year for female performances when a lot of the storyline at the time was there wasn't a lot of good female roles.
Yeah.
But anyway, with Meryl Streep out of the way, because she should have been nominated because she was. I go back to this young lady, and once again, it's Wild at Heart. This is Laura Dern, Diane Ladd's daughter, as it happens, and they would both be nominated in 1991 for the same movie. They both did a movie called Ramblin' Rose in 1991. They were both nominated for that mother-daughter team. In this case, only Diane Ladd was nominated. But Laura Dern, I'm not as David Lynch's muse. I'm not sure she's ever been better. It's about like finding the humanity in the extremities of Lynch's characters, which can sometimes be challenging. She does a masterful job here. Every bad character choice she makes feels justified by how well she plays the part, how deeply in love she feels with the Nick Cage character. She has a lot of detail and shades too. Lynch can get quirky, and it could have been a role that could have felt like a straight ingenue thing, but she really added a lot to it. Seems like you guys don't remember it as much.
No, but I love Laura Dern, so cool.
If you remember, she was my choice for supporting actress last year for her work in Wild. So I guess there's a theme there. I keep coming back to these same actors, but all right, so let's move on here to Best Actor. I believe that's next. It is. And this to me actually feels like a strangely thin category. I've got in my top 5. I've got zero of the 5 in my top 5 male performances. Because I would have Robin Williams in lieu of Robert De Niro here, Davey Joe, to your point earlier. So, do you guys? Jeremy Irons would go on to win, this award. Do you guys have a thought about this? Should he have?
I like that movie a lot, but I don't remember thinking. I don't remember thinking that performance was incredible or anything. I guess it was kind of fine. So I gotta go De Niro here.
De Niro Awakens. Okay. What about you, J Money?
I didn't see Reversal of Fortune, but I don't like any of the other nominees, so I'm going to give it to Irons anyway.
That goes against everything that the Academy.
The Academy can suck it. Suck it, Academy.
Honestly, you just can't pick a best of the worst type thing.
I don't think that's how the 50% of the Academy voters vote. They're just like, yeah, that guy, he's done pretty well. I don't need to watch this.
Definitely not 50%. I would say 90%, and you're gonna argue with me, but these are people that I know. So 90% of them take it seriously.
All right, that's good.
I think they've at least seen the ones they vote for. I don't think they.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. That's up for grabs. But I will say, how about I'm sort of with you in the sense I don't love all the nominees, but Irons is, he didn't make my top 5, but he probably make my top 6. I don't think it's a bad performance. I just, I had Williams ahead of him, I had Mel Gibson ahead of him from Hamlet. I would have nominated Williams. I don't know why he's not in here. I thought he did a great performance in Awakenings.
Yeah, I completely agree. To Irons' credit, he adds a great deal of sardonic humor to this potentially villainous character. I think the script is strong enough to have actually got him the Oscar. But like I said, I can name 5 performances I liked more, and I'm about to name one that I liked even better. But before I do that, J Money, do you have should have been nominated? Unless I've already spoiled it, I mentioned.
Robin Williams was my pick for that.
You're gonna go with Robin Williams, yeah. I agree. I've got him top 5 as well, and I think I guess Davey Joe would too, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I do, but I have another one. Believe it or not.
Go. Well.
Ooh. All right. Well, what's that?
Ray Liotta? How did that not happen?
That is mine. We did it again.
Yeah.
Yes. Ray Liotta. I always talk about, when we talk about voiceover all the time. I brought it up. What was it? Dope was the one that I was rejected the voiceover, but I always point out Goodfellas as the exception to the rule, as a point where voiceover really works because it's not telling you what you're seeing on screen. It's telling you different information, in some case contrasting what you're seeing on screen. It's an outstanding use of voiceover, which isn't just the script. It's partially the performer of the voiceover. The voiceover, and there's more than he does to this performance, but that aspect of it, I think, can't be undervalued. And overall, I feel like he really makes us feel every aspect of Henry's arc, both on screen and, of course, vocally. It's a performance with passion and range. Surprising they haven't worked together more. It seems like he was really in sync with Scorsese on this movie. David, I didn't mean to steal your thunder, but did you have more you wanted to say about that?
I think that sums it up. That's good.
You like that? J Money, buy me time and tell me about our boy Ray Liotta.
I was just trying to remember. Did Liotta have a comeback yet? Because it feels like he might be due for one. Has he been making the rounds?
He's on TV right now.
He's on what?
Shades of Blue.
It's TV, right?
Yeah. NBC.
That doesn't count. I mean, is he doing anything that's like cool?
Are you sure it doesn't count?
I don't know. I haven't seen it. I really shouldn't say anything.
I watch it religiously.
We talked a lot on this show about how TV is better than a lot of TV is better than cinema these days.
Okay, but I'm talking about like a Travolta-esque early '90s comeback. I'm talking about like Travolta in like.
Yeah, I'm going to point to one performance, which I also feel like he should have been Oscar nominated for. It's a movie from the late director Ted Demme. It's called Blow from 2001 or 2, I want to say.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I could have seen that.
And he played Johnny Depp's father in a supporting performance and knocked it out of the park. Have you guys seen this Blow?
I'm ready for Liotta to come back and start popping up in quirky movies.
I like the
well, he was a couple years ago. He was in Killing Them Softly, maybe 2-3 years ago.
Oh, I never saw that. How was that?
Visually arresting, but not. I had some issues with it, but people loved it. You might like it because it's got some visual intelligence to it, but narratively it struggled to me. But anyway, you guys ready to move on to Best Director?
Yeah.
So there you have it. I have two of the five. Would also make my top 5. Including, I would put Kevin Costner in my top 5. I have him as number 5. I want to dispel the idea that Shomani Tutanka Owachi is a bad movie. I think it's a bad rap because it won an Oscar when it wasn't necessarily the best of this particular year. And I think we will probably. Obviously, Kevin Costner won. I think I'm gonna guess we're all in agreement who should have won.
Yeah.
Okay. No.
I could also see Scorsese.
Surprise me.
I could see Scorsese picking it up. I mean,
Well, that's what I'm saying. Are you just being facetious? Are you playing with me?
No, that's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, no, that's what we're all saying.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying like I think we're all going to be in agreement that it should have been this guy, Scorsese, right here. I mean, I want to say whether it's this category or the next one, this is the master at the height of his powers. I'll say more of the next category, but this is the film that he was building up his whole career to make. We'll talk about it later, but I mean, like, I don't think there's any question that he should have won this one. And it's not to knock Kevin Costner's achievement. And I think, again, Dances with Wolves gets a bad rap as a result. But just because Goodfellas is better does not necessarily make Dances with Wolves plain out bad. So, and no one noticed my Sioux pronunciation of Dances with Wolves. I was hoping for a little credit there, but do you have a thought? Well, actually, let me give Davy Joe a chance. Do you ever should have been nominated for this one, director?
No, but I will agree with you though that Dances with Wolves is not. It's a very good movie. It's just not Goodfellas.
I just rewatched it Wednesday, and I guess that's 2 nights ago. It was very good. I mean, it would make my top 10. Maybe.
I kind of love it.
Maybe number 10. What's that?
I kind of love it. I really do.
It works real well, and it was another one that was kind of important. I mean, like if you think back to Sachi Littlefeather, and like the treatment of the depiction of Indians and Native Americans, I should say, in movies over the years. The Native American community really embraced this movie and really, felt like it was a victory for them. So, from a diversity point of view, it was an important situation. I mean, that's not how I vote or want to vote, but if you want to look at it in a larger context, sure. That's something to think about. But so anyway, let us move on to should have been nominated, and I'm going to let J Money go.
Well, for the should have been nominated, I always start by looking at what was nominated for Best Picture and what didn't make it in the Best Director. Penny Marshall seems to me could have easily been put into the Best Director category for this, for Awakenings.
And for sure, probably should have been, and that was a huge deal when she wasn't, and then the following year, Prince of Tides was nominated for Best Picture, and Barbra Streisand wasn't nominated for Best Director, and it was very much like, W2F, boys, this is not cool. And we still wouldn't have a Best Director winner until 2009. It was the first time we ever had a female Best Director winner. And in that time period, I think there was only one other female Best Director nominee, and that was Jane Campion in 1993 for The Piano. So it is what it is. But if you're looking at just the work, and I love Awakenings, but I feel like it's a screenplay-driven movie. It was a big year for the Marshall siblings too. Like Gary Marshall directed Pretty Woman, and she directed Awakenings. It was a big year. But I'm gonna go here. And it's another white dude, I guess. So maybe I'm back to being a racist, but and a sexist. This is Postcards from the Edge again. As I see J Money lean in to squint to see it.
I had to see what it was.
Mike Nichols. The late Mike Nichols died this past year. And again, this movie blew me away just very recently. This was my real discovery out of all the watching of movies from 1990 this past few months. It's a master class in directing actors, and it's not the last night at the round table, maybe a little tonight, we talked about directorial flourishes that I tend to reject unless they're really motivated by something. I just look for good storytelling, good choices, and an assortment of, if the ensemble is really, really good, that usually means a good director, and that's really the case here. Like, the performances aren't really just good; they're outstanding, including a nice little supporting performance by Robin Bartlett, who J Money and I saw in a movie this year recently called H, as an older lady.
Oh, really?
Do you remember H we saw together?
I remember H. I remember who she was in H, but I didn't know she was in Postcards from the Edge. That's funny. She
plays Meryl Streep's rehab friend in Postcards from the Edge. Annette Bening also has a small role in Postcards from the Edge. She would go on to be in The Grifters later in 1990.
I really want to rewatch it now. After everything you've talked about it, I want to rewatch it. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's very fresh in my mind, but. A couple of things that Nichols does in this movie that were really impressive is almost an Altman-esque overlapping dialogue that really I feel like works real well, especially for the mother-daughter relationship, and using reaction shots, not just cutting to reaction shots, but actually utilizing reaction shots to advance the narrative in a really special way. It's sort of a lost art form. So those are the things that struck me about Postcards from the Edge. Davey, do you have anything on that?
No. I like Postcards from the Edge, but it's been so long.
Yeah.
That's the refrain of the evening.
25 years, man.
Well, I know. Well, that's why. I mean, when I pitched this show, you could have guys just said no.
No, but this is a good show.
We're trying to support you, Davey.
It's my kind of show, but all right. Moving on to Best Picture. Back when they only had 5 nominees, it seems like so long ago. Is that what is that little thing in the corner? Oh, is that Billy Crystal on a horse?
Yes, it is.
Ah, look at you. I didn't catch that earlier.
Ah.
Okay, so obviously Dances with Wolves is the big winner here. Again, I think we just said that in the last category. It's a good movie. It's not the. I mean, I don't think it's the best. I don't think you guys thinks it's the best. But let's see. What do you guys think deserves to have won out of these 5 here?
I mean, it's definitely Godfather Part 3. I'm kidding. I mean, Goodfellas.
Also, not that bad a movie. I mean, like, doesn't hold it. It's getting unfairly compared to Godfather's Part 1 and 2. Godfather 3 on its own isn't bad. It doesn't make my top 10. It's not. I don't think it's a Best Picture nominee. It doesn't make it a top 5, obviously, but it's not a bad movie. But yeah, probably out of not in the right space here.
Mona Lisa, the sequel,
Yeah, no, and so it's. But I mean, like, they made him do it. Like, he was broke. What are you gonna do?
Cash the check, man. Good for him.
Yeah. But guys, what do you? I mean, like, make this. Are we all in agreement here?
Goodfellas for sure.
What's that?
Goodfellas.
J-Money, you agree?
Yeah, Goodfellas.
Yeah, it's a clean sweep. It's not only the best film of 1990. I have it as listed. I think I've said this before on the show. I have it listed as the second best film of the 90s overall. I think it's one of my top 20 favorite films all time. It's near perfection. And we talk about this a lot, or we have tonight anyway, because it keeps coming up. The merging of style and substance. Every directorial flourish is motivated by something within the core of the moment or the scene. I'm thinking about the tracking shot into the club. I'm thinking about the Layla montage. I'm thinking about the helicopter chase at the end, or the vertigo shot in the diner. These are things that make like that is great filmmaking. Do you guys have anything you want to add to that?
I just think it set a pattern and a tone for that kind of storytelling, for mafia-oriented, but also gangster-oriented sort of storytelling, and it became so ingrained in how we think about those stories that you can't even get away from it. Like it is like the gold standard in some ways at this point for talking about that kind of story, and I think that's why it really deserves better recognition at this point. I mean, Dance with the Wolves was an epic movie in and of itself, and it was an interesting story, and it had some great, cinematography and other things that were happening in it. But I also feel like it was a movie that was very in the moment in a way. I feel like it was a movie that really kind of caught a certain early '90s vibe about revising some of the history of the nation, some of the ideas about Native American culture, and Goodfellas wasn't like that proactive. It wasn't that subversive or anything like that. So it feels like it kind of got pushed to the side a little bit. But in hindsight, we talked about it a little bit at the roundtable last night. There was no dissension in the ranks. You know what I mean? Like it's like tonight. It was sort of like acknowledged. Like, yeah, you can't. It's like Citizen Kane. You're like, yeah, you can't not. You have to admit that this is the best. So, and it's on that level. Like I said, it's that good a movie. J Money, do you have nothing's gonna be better than Goodfellas. I assume, but maybe you think one of these films is. What do you think should have been nominated? What's not here? Well, the only thing I could think of to actually stick in the nomination category is Hamlet. Again, going back to that one.
That's interesting. I guessed wrong. But yeah, I mean, I like Hamlet. I like Hamlet a lot. If you went back to the early part of the show, is in my top 10 from when I first made it. I think it's maybe number 10 or 11 now. But I rewatched it as part of this thing, as you might have seen on Twitter. So yeah, I'm a big fan. It's really well made. Zeffirelli is I think it's better than Brownhog when it comes to adapting as a director, Shakespeare to cinema. Do you have more about it? Money, anything else you want to say about it?
No, it's a hard category for me to pick from at this point because based on what I'd seen and what could fit in here, there's no.
I'm saying anything more you want to say about Hamlet.
Oh, I just thoroughly enjoyed the movie. I thoroughly enjoyed the adaptation. I guess for me, it's one of those movies that was a breakout understanding of Shakespeare for me, so that's probably also why it was monumental for me. And I thought that Gibson actually deserves a lot of credit for what he did with Hamlet. I think that he's
for sure
actually pretty good in it, surprisingly good in it. I think at the time, I remember people talking about how surprised they were at his performance level in that. So, A
lot of great performances in the movie. Helena Bonham Carter. That's when I really first discovered Helena Bonham Carter,
absolutely.
Even though she was in Room with a View. Have you seen Olivier's Hamlet from 1948 by chance?
No, I haven't.
Cool. Check it out. Maybe at some point. Maybe it'll be a classic movie screening. I assume, Davey, that you might have a nominee here. Would you?
I mean, it's something that I've been toying with since the beginning of the show. I'll tell you what. I'm gonna catch a lot for this, but Exorcist 3. Let's put it in there. It is a movie that it's so scary. I mean, like, it's first of all, I mean, maybe I know I'm in the minority, but I think it's so much scarier than the first one. It's just freaking terrifying, and George C. Scott is excellent. So I mean, if The Godfather 3 can be in there, then Exorcist 3 should have been in there.
Oh my God, what scene?
Yeah, I'm going to assume that this affected you at a very young point in your life, and therefore it's getting sort of like it's like a weighted.
It is acknowledged.
Result.
It is acknowledged by many people that scene is the scariest scene. I mean, I think if you put in a YouTube, I'm pretty sure the scariest scene in a horror movie, I think that scene comes up. Like, it's
all right.
crazy.
I don't have any photos from Exorcist 3, strangely enough. But so I'm gonna move on because I don't even know what else to say to that. But I also might get some flack for this movie because this is not what J Money would consider an Academy movie. But I also think it's I think it's the second best movie of 1990, and I think it's the complete package. And it because of its nature and its star, it doesn't get taken seriously. We haven't talked about it a lot. It did win one Oscar in a below the line category. Guys, I mean, I think it's a great movie, and it holds up, I think. J Money's not looking, so he's not shocked out of his
scariest movie in the scene. Total Recall, huh? Really?
I got a chuckle out of him. Yeah, Total Recall.
Yeah, all right.
It's an out-of-the-box choice, but I mean, it's great as a sci-fi film. It's great as action. It's great as comedy. It's extremely trippy and meta in a fun way, with actual depth and social commentary that isn't heavy-handed. I think it holds up. I think it's super exciting and it's thought-provoking. It did win an Oscar for special effects, but I mean, like, I think it could have been at least nominated, if not winning, in other categories like editing, sound, costumes, production design, like, and direction too. Paul Verhoeven's work. I mean, like, I think that this movie. It came up last night, and one person said they felt like the effects didn't hold up. I mean, I just watched it. In fact, I bought it.
Oh, I disagree with that, definitely.
I used to own it, but I don't know what happened to it. I used to own the kind that was actually, they held the DVD in a little Mars, a little tin that looked like Mars. But anyway, people do like this movie, but I don't know if they are... they're taking it seriously as a work of art. Some people do. Like, there have been dissertations written about this movie. It's got a lot going on. I think that there's a lot of value, and I think it's certainly as worthy as something like Ex Machina, or, I mean, which is moodier certainly. But I don't know if this should lose points because it's got great action as well. What I like about it is I think it works on those multiple levels, both as a popcorn film and as a film with social commentary and depth. So I think, I mean, that's what the goal is, to work on all those levels. So I'm prepared for some trouble, but what do you guys think?
I'm not gonna give you any trouble.
Everybody's laughing.
Hey, in 25 years, man, water under the bridge. Like, if you want to make it your nominee, that's totally cool with me.
Dude, I just said Exorcist 3. What do you expect?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, look, are you guys going to tell me that Total Recall is a bad movie?
No. And maybe J Money is.
No, I don't think it's bad. I don't. Look, I don't know if I would put it in a Best Picture nominee situation, but I mean, I think I liked Total Recall. It still holds up for me. It's not my favorite Verhoeven movie. I think that if I'm looking for like deeper cut of Verhoeven, I go RoboCop. RoboCop's my top for that, but.
Well, I mean, I feel like, but they're they're similar in a way. I mean, I just feel like Total Recall, I think, is more engaging overall to me.
And, for me, Total Recall is more ridiculous, and that's why it doesn't get edged, or it gets edged out a little bit by RoboCop. So I'm not saying
because of the humor.
I'm not saying that in a negative way. I mean, I think that I really love the carnivalesque kind of nature of Total Recall and how it's. I mean, the end sequence is kind of silly in a way that's kind of satisfying. There is a lot of great action in it, certainly. There's 3 lady parts. Everybody loves that. There's a little guy on a guy's stomach. Nobody has a problem with that. I mean, there's a lot of things that are great about Total Recall.
Well, now we are film critics officially, whether we like it or not, and I feel like it's a film that is worthy of some serious consideration and exploration. So anyway, one of the things that I was going to do is ask you guys if there was I wanted to like overall thoughts about the year in general, but obviously it's almost midnight over there. I wanted to ask if there was one film from 1990 or that you guys wanted to remake. Should we not bother with that conversation?
Let me look at my list.
Well, I mean, I know it's late. I mean, like, if it comes down to that, we don't have to.
That we would remake, or that we would celebrate
If
as?
there was one movie, and bear in mind that Total Recall, Hamlet, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have all been remade.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Reversal of Fortune would be one to remake.
Okay. What would you like to do differently?
I think that a more sort of modern look. I feel like it's the kind of thing that there's number one, there's an appetite for it.
But it's a true story.
It is a true story, but I mean, how many times have we done OJ? You know, you can.
Oh, so you wouldn't modernize the story. You would.
No, you can't modernize the story.
J Money, do you have any?
Yeah, you know what? I'd shoot for Flatliners. I think Flatliners is a movie that.
I thought about that. I thought about that.
It's a really interesting concept. It had a great ensemble cast for the time being. It just isn't a great movie. But it'd be interesting to see what you could do with a more modern interpretation.
Because Joel Schumacher stinks. I'm going to say it right now. He was a costume designer turned director.
Yeah.
I love costume designers, but he's not a good director. I don't think
terrible.
he's ever made a good movie. But anyway, so I mean, like, I think Quigley Flatliners is a good movie. I would almost just want to remake it to like minimize some of the cheese factor, like the limited cheese factor, but I also think like I don't know, like it just didn't connect with audiences. Like the story's kind of timeless, but I think there was like potential for a Quigley franchise. The other one that I thought about, I wanted to talk to you guys about that didn't come up otherwise is this next film that I'm gonna eventually get to the picture for, and here it is, which we haven't talked about, and it's a little dry. It's almost like Flatliners. It's a film that had a potential. One of my favorite authors. This is The Russia House, from based on something by John le Carre. It was actually the first film to shoot in Red Square. First Hollywood film to shoot in Red Square in like 50 years or something crazy. Because I think Warren Beatty had to rebuild it, but like on a soundstage. But yeah, so it was kind of a big deal in that regard, but it didn't connect, and it didn't have the intrigue of something like Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, also based on a John le Carre thing, John le Carre. That had everything I would want from a John le Carre novel. So I think that now that we've done that, maybe we can do Russia House a little better. So, have you guys seen Russia House by chance?
No, I never saw it.
Okay, so guys, it has been quite a year. I mean, through this project, we've talked not only about films from 2015 and 1990, but we've talked about indies from 2010, and we've talked also from classics from all different years. We talked several from 1940, which is 75 years ago, and even as one as far back as 1930. So we've been all over the map, and through these films, we've traveled all over the globe to many different time periods, learning about all different cultures. And watching such a varied set of films in this way isn't just entertainment. I think it's an insight into the human condition. Through these films, we've learned about life, love, fear, war, passion, greed, hate, pain, addiction, racism, depression, and hope. If we let it, the viewing of these films doesn't necessarily need to just be entertainment. The viewing of this art can help us grow as people. Again, if we let it. It is my belief that these bi-monthly chats do something to further that process in some small way. So I'm very pleased to go on this. It's been a great journey in the past year. I've enjoyed it. I look forward to continue to share this journey with both my colleagues, Jay Money and Dave Joseph, and all you audience members in 2016 and beyond. The next film that we're going to do appropriately is a sequel of a film that we talked about this past year. Back in March, we talked about Insurgent, the second film in the Divergent franchise. So next time, we're going to talk about Allegiant, which is the third film of the 4 that are going to be part of the franchise. That's going to be on Monday, March 21st, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. So that's the next time you're going to catch us, where we get back to the regular grind after this epic show that we put together for you guys. And it seems only appropriate that we should go out with the song that I feel should have won Best Song in 1990, even though I never saw the film.
You didn't see the film?
How did you never see this film?
Are you kidding me?
This was a
No, I didn't see the first one either.
Oh my god. Alright. Come on, man. You gotta
Yeah.
Alright.
Good choice.
And finally, to paraphrase Bob Hope, who, when he closed out the 1965 Oscars, this meeting of the No Name Cinema Society is adjourned.
Very good. Very good.